It was true, preposterous but true, that Queen Elizabeth, who had long prided herself on being unmarried, had now come up with the notion of marrying a French prince less than half her age, whom she had never seen. She was enchanted with the idea, and even more so with the French ambassador who had come to make the arrangements. So suave was he, so gallant, so handsome, and what a way he had of romancing her. It was irresistible. Like one of the roses, he made her feel as they walked together through the paths of the garden in the summer-time. That same summer, in the same garden, on days that she could spare from the fascinating Frenchman, Queen Elizabeth listened to the plans of Sir Francis Drake for attacking Spain, plans which she was determined should not be undertaken before the successful outcome of this alliance with France. The French ambassador, whose romancing was all in the line of duty, was far more eager to be replaced by the prospective bridegroom than the Queen was to accept to change. He kept urging her persistently, yet delicately, to send for Francis, knowing how many other suitors this unpredictable creature had flirted with and refused to marry. He also knew that the Privy Council wanted no Frenchman or Catholic sharing the throne of England. Charmingly persistent as ever, the Frenchman finally persuaded the Queen to sign a passport for Francis, who was then at his new post in Holland, to travel incognito to England. Even then, the French ambassador felt his worries were far from ended. One look at the prince might stop Elizabeth. The poor fellow was so pathetically unprepossessing. Extremely short stature, he bobbed as he walked, his eyes popped, his face was scarred with smallpox pits, and he had a strange-shaped blob of a nose. The Frenchman could but shrug his shoulders and hope for the best. To his amazement, all went well, far exceeding his fondest hopes. Elizabeth actually seemed to like the boy, playfully calling him her frog prince. Francis, bedazzled by her wit and brilliance, left after his secret visit of 2 days with dreams of ruling England whirling in his head. The French ambassador had still to get Elizabeth to announce the date of the wedding. The Queen hesitated, not without her suspicions. One day she turned upon him with a shrewd glint in her bright eyes. "I hear," she remarked, "that it has been said in France that the prince would do well to marry the old creature. Then he could send for a poison that would make him a widower in 5 or 6 months, after which he could marry her cousin, Mary Queen of Scots, and be sovereign over both Scotland and England. What say you to that?" The ambassador dismissed the rumor as incredible, and Elizabeth, loath to end these charming negotiations, invited the Prince Francis to return in the late fall of that year, 1581. The French ambassador, on the alert, watched for the first opportunity to have the marriage announced. One morning he came upon the Queen and her Francis walking in the gallery with a number of courtiers, including Lord Leicester. Then and there he forced her to admit their betrothal, exchange rings, and seal the happy bargain with a kiss. This was too much for Elizabeth. This was going too far. What could she do? She was in a trap. The poor boy refused to be discarded. "Madam," he wailed, "I would rather be cut in pieces than not marry you and be laughed at by the whole world." Poor fellow! Elizabeth liked him, but she did not want to marry him any more than she had ever wanted to marry anyone. And the Privy Council gladly came to the rescue. They forcefully insisted that the disappointed bridegroom should depart. A group of councillors, among them Lord Leicester and a newcomer, Sir Walter Raleigh, were appointed to escort poor discarded Francis back to Holland. The Queen rode by his side as far as Canterbury. There she took leave of him tenderly, urging him to write her often, as if she were indeed his wife.